How the US plans the 4-week war attack strategy against Iran. This is week 1. The operation begins with US Navy destroyers firing Tomahawk cruise missiles from hundreds of miles out, designed to completely blind and crush the enemy's anti-air defenses. This is week 2. The objective shifts to destroying the entire Iranian naval fleet. But it's not that easy, as the Iranian Navy fought back, launching surface-to-air and anti-ship missiles at our fighter jets. Here comes week 3. With the skies contested but clearing, the US brings in the heavy hitters. B-2 stealth bombers drop in to eliminate high-value targets hidden deep in underground bunkers. While week 4, the campaign wraps up with a targeted sweep. Advanced stealth fighters, the F-22 Raptors and F-35s, are sent in to hunt down and destroy any remaining ballistic missiles before they can be launched. This is how the first week went. The strategy was twofold. First, leadership decapitation. In the opening hours, precision strikes specifically targeted the highest echelons of the Iranian government, successfully striking the compound of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and severely disrupting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' chain of command. In the first week, the US military brought out its heavy hitters. Tomahawk land attack missiles were fired from Navy warships heavily built up in the region. Hundreds of Tomahawks were used to blind Iranian radar and destroy heavily fortified infrastructure from a safe standoff distance. Simultaneously, the US deploys the EA-18G Growler. These specialized jets don't drop bombs. Instead, they'd fire concentrated electronic warfare signals that jam Iran's Russian-made S-300 and indigenous Bavar 373 air defense systems. The enemy radar screens literally go blank. This paves the way for 5th-generation aircraft, including F-35 stealth jets and F-22 Raptors, were utilized to slip past early warning systems and clear the skies, paving the way for 4th-generation fighters like the F-15 E-Strike Eagles. After the anti-air defense system were destroyed by these aircrafts, the U.S. Central Command brought out the Cold War-era massive B-52 strategic bombers operating directly over Iranian airspace, dropping heavy payloads on military complexes and IRGC command centers. Over 1,700 to 2,000 Iranian targets were struck in the first week of the operations. This is the ultimate insult in modern warfare, taking your enemy's most infamous weapon and firing it right back at them. For years, the Iranian Shahed kamikaze drone wreaked havoc. But when the US captured one, they didn't just study it, they cloned it. Stripped down and upgraded with American tech, the US built a mass-produced, expendable swarm drone. In a devastating twist of irony, they launched these one-way attack drones straight back into Iranian airspace. This is week 2 is about taking away the enemy's ability to hit back. First up is the Jashin. When this Iranian fast attack craft approached a US surface action group, it fired a US-made Harpoon missile, a remnant from pre-revolution arms sales. The US cruiser USS Wainwright successfully evaded it using electronic countermeasures and chaff. The US ships instantly returned fire, sinking the Jashin in what became the world's first ever missile duel between warships. Then came the Sahand. This Iranian frigate sailed out to challenge the US fleet and fired at passing aircraft. The response was immediate. Navy attack jets and the destroyer USS Joseph Strauss swarmed the vessel, pummeling the Sahand with missiles and heavy bombs until it caught fire and ultimately sank after its own munitions detonated. Later that same afternoon, a third ship, the Savalan, tried its luck. The frigate fired a surface-to-air missile at a US jet. The pilot simply dodged the missile, looped right back around, and dropped a 500-pound laser-guided bomb directly down the ship's exhaust stack. The internal explosion completely crippled the vessel. The overarching goal behind all of this was to secure the Strait of Hormuz, the single most critical choke point for global oil. Then comes the third week, launching $2 billion stealth bomber again to hit the underground nuclear programs. The problem is, these aren't just buildings you can level. They are heavily fortified subterranean labyrinths buried deep beneath solid rock. If you wait too long, the enemy moves their most critical assets, nuclear enrichment fuels, into impenetrable bunkers. So the military drops this specialized deep penetration munitions, massive bunker busters designed to slice through the earth and detonate inside the mountain. It's a surgical, violent procedure meant to collapse the underground networks entirely, setting the nuclear program back by decades. By week 4, you've achieved full air superiority. The massive bombing campaigns stop, and the hunting game begins. F-22 Raptors and F-15s take over, aggressively patrolling the entirety of Iranian airspace. They are kept continuously aloft by a steady rotation of flying tankers. It becomes a highly coordinated hunt. Targets are identified by Space Force satellites and Central Command, with the data fed straight to the fighters, usually directed by an E-2D Hawkeye command plane. The primary strategy here is to avoid a ground occupation entirely. Instead, the U.S. controls the battle space from above, striking from the air the absolute second a target exposes itself. They are specifically hunting for missile launchers, which are typically tucked away in hidden underground facilities. To keep the pressure on, MQ-9 Reaper drones patrol the skies 24/7. The moment the enemy rolls out a ballistic missile to attempt a launch, those Reapers are already waiting above, ready to wipe it out with Hellfire missiles. Even if you are bombarded with all kinds of spam emails, jump calls, and all kinds of online breaches with our financial data, this data doesn't just result in spam and scam attempts. It can also affect your insurance rates and ultimately will lead into a loan denial just when you might need credit. Incogni helps protect your privacy by regularly scanning and preventing data brokers from re-uploading your information. You'll also get a clear, real-time dashboard to track the status of your data. As an add-on with Incogni Unlimited plans, you can gain access to this custom removal tool. That's where Incogni comes in. Copy the link of any site exposing your information. Go to the custom removals tool, paste the link, and click submit. That's it. Then wait about 30 to 45 days, and just like that, your data is removed. So take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code AITELLY with the link below, incogni.com/AITELLY, and get 60% off on an annual plan. But the Iranians retain a critical strategic advantage. By utilizing the narrow geography of the Strait of Hormuz, they can still launch devastating close-range strikes against the U.S. Navy fleet. By waiting in ambush near expected carrier movements, Yadr-class submarines could fire a coordinated torpedo strike, targeting the hull and propulsion systems of U.S. carriers. A successful torpedo strike on an aircraft carrier could disable its flight deck operations, significantly reducing the U.S. Navy's ability to project air power in the region. Additionally, these submarines could lay underwater mines in critical sea lanes, forcing U.S. warships into predetermined ambush zones where Iranian missile and drone attacks could follow up. But if the Iranian disable the Navy carrier, can the U.S. still fight back? The answer is yes. Focusing only on the slow-moving ships is a mistake. The United States holds an ace up its sleeve that doesn't need to wait for a clear shipping lane. Even without a carrier strike group, the U.S. can deliver precision strikes for weeks to come. This is the domain of Air Force Global Strike Command. They can deploy the Big Three strategic bombers anywhere in the world in just 24 hours. First, you have the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. This is the door kicker. It is the only aircraft in history capable of taking off from Missouri, flying non-stop to Iran, penetrating the most advanced air defense networks undetected, and dropping massive bunker busters on deep underground facilities. Second, the B-1B Lancer, known as the Bone. This supersonic heavy hitter carries the largest payload of any U.S. bomber. It can dash in at high speed and low altitude to deliver massive barrages of cruise missiles or satellite-guided bombs to clear the path. And finally, the B-52 Stratofortress. It may look old, but do not underestimate it. It acts as a flying missile truck, capable of launching long-range cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away, well outside the reach of Iranian air defenses. Let's take a look at how this works. The first line attack involves the B-2 stealth bomber moving in to destroy high-value air defense systems like the famous S-400 Triumph and other surface-to-air missiles, effectively disabling them by using its stealth technology. Next, the B-1 Lancer flies at a very low altitude towards enemy targets to take out older anti-aircraft guns and missiles. This clears the way for conventional aircraft like the B-52 Stratofortress, which can then sweep in to destroy any critical infrastructure without facing anti-aircraft threats. This is the reason they need both the B-2 stealth bomber and conventional bombers, as there are only 19 units of the B-2 Spirit in service to date. Let's shift our focus back to the aircraft carriers. It begs the question, how can a single ship and its crew sustain such a grueling, relentless workload for 4 solid weeks? The reality is, they don't do it alone. To maintain that level of presence and power, you need 2 aircraft carriers. Instead, they will trade entire shifts. This is the doctrine of the battle rhythm. But why do you need this battle rhythm strategy for a carrier strike group? Imagine a floating city with nuclear fuel and 5,000 people. Without a system, it's chaos. Simply put, battle rhythm is the daily heartbeat of the ship. It synchronizes the admiral's decisions with the sailor's sweat. There are two pulses. First, the operational pulse. This is the air plan. For 12 to 15 hours, the ship runs continuous cycle operations, launching and catching jets every 60 to 90 minutes. It is a deafening, non-stop assembly line of violence. Second, the command pulse. While jets fly, commanders cycle through a fixed schedule of intel briefs, targeting boards, and night orders. Battle rhythm turns 24 hours of chaos into a sustainable routine of war. If you lose the rhythm, you lose the fight. We make original videos animated by humans from scratch, so please subscribe